humanitarian situation there. We can speak now live to Ray Jordan, who is Director of International Networks at the humanitarian charity PennyAppeal, and joins us now live from Limerick. Ray, thank you very much indeed for being with us. I understand that you were at the Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt just yesterday. Can you paint a picture of what you saw there?
Yeah, Mark, just a few days ago, and for the last 3 weeks, the humanitarian community has been ramping up its efforts from Egypt. And the majorly frustrating thing is everybody is good to go on the Egyptian side with the great support of the Egyptian Red Crescent. But what's getting across the border on a day-to-day basis is literally a drop in the ocean. We had under 100 trucks yesterday, but what we need, due to the backlog of not supporting people over the last month, we need hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of trucks crossing the border on a daily basis now.
Do you have hope with this delivery of fuel? We understand that the UN in Gaza has now received its first shipment of fuel. Indeed, since the first fuel at all to enter since the conflict began on the 7th of October. In fact, these are pictures of a you can see there a UN truck, a truck with UNICEF actually, which is bringing fuel across the border crossing into Gaza. The UN saying that it is a fraction of what is needed to distribute aid. What is your reaction to that arrival of fuel?
Correct, Mark. Images are very important to see, but the substance behind the images has to be not 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 fuel trucks. It's got to be hundreds of trucks on a daily basis, including food, health, medicine, water, and fuel. Fuel is an essential part of the humanitarian supply chain, and we've got to see it coming in at significantly greater quantities. Yes, it's welcome that there's limited access, but what we've been calling for as an international community over the last 3.5 weeks is humanitarian access at scale and a ceasefire. Like, we're continually talking to our colleagues within Gaza, and they're just telling us it's getting worse and worse, that they say they have run out of words. They're saying that their hospitals are becoming cemeteries. And meanwhile, we're seeing some welcome images. But for me, they're only a drop in the ocean, and we have to see literally a 10-fold increase in the level of humanitarian access.
Yes, the UN office in Gaza saying that the 23,000 litres or so of fuel represents just 9% of what they need daily to sustain their life-saving activities. Do you have any sense of where that fuel would go? Would it go to the aid that comes in? Would it go to the north of Gaza under siege by the Israelis, or would it go to the very overstretched resources in the south of Gaza?
So, Mark, everything changes on a daily basis, and that's why having a ground game within Gaza through the United Nations, through the partner organisations that PennyAppeal has worked with for the last 10 years, that's the critical thing, to be able to distribute aid in a transparent and accountable manner to ensure that it is going to where it's needed on a daily basis. And I absolutely believe that the coordination systems are still there to get a 10x amount of aid into the people immediately.
And Ray, what is the picture in southern Gaza, which has seen this tide of humanity arrive with all the evacuees in recent days, and where resources, of course, and the few hospitals that are open are incredibly overwhelmed?
Mark, I've been involved in humanitarian response for 30 years, and I've never seen something like this. And the primary reason is that people have nowhere to go. The uncertainty and the fear that people are living every single day, fear of literally being bombed in their place, whether they're lucky enough to find room inside in a UN school, or whether they're literally living out under the stars. It started to rain, it's going to get cold. So just the level of exhaustion that people have been under for the last 30-something days now, people are at their wits' end, and the humanitarian assistance that is getting in, I cannot say it enough, it is literally a drop in the ocean. And my colleagues are literally looking at their loved ones and women and children being killed every single day. And sometimes I think we have all the images in the world, but it's just not connecting with the international community, the gravity of the situation on the ground, and why a humanitarian access is critically needed. And we have to have a ceasefire today.
Ray, do you have any hope at all in the idea that has been mooted about some kind of maritime corridor to deliver aid from Cyprus?
I think the power of what is possible always needs to be explored, But I'm a great believer in the power of good people working together. If there is a will at the international community, there is a way to address this. So all options should be on the table. Nothing should be ruled out. But ultimately, this comes down to the political will of the United Nations to be able to say the humanitarian imperative of those women and children inside in Gaza. It needs to be understood. We need to cater for these people, and we have to get access to them by whatever means. And to do that, we need a massively increased volume in the humanitarian assistance. And to do that, we need to have a ceasefire.
Ray Jordan from the charity Penny Appeal, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Well, as the fighting continues around and inside,